Being a parent of a seriously sick child and being forced to choose between working or being by their bedside. Well, that is the heartbreaking reality for some families. Under the current law, parents of babies who become sick in the first 28 days of their life are entitled to paid leave. But if an older child is diagnosed with a critical illness, parents don't get financial support. Earlier, I spoke to Ceri Menai-Davis, whose 6-year-old son Hugh passed away in 2021. He told me why he's campaigning for change.
He was born on our first wedding anniversary. He was everything you'd want in your child, like fun, bubbly, caring, kind, considerate. He started to feel unwell, and then in the space of 12 hours, we thought we had a stomach bug, and it ended up my wife being told that he had cancer. And from that moment, we were rushed off to Addenbrooke's Hospital, which was 50 miles away from where we were in Hertford. And the journey started then. Hugh had 6 months of intensive chemotherapy and everything else. And to be fair to him, he just took it like an absolute trooper and warrior, and give it everything he had.
It's hard to imagine the emotional toll that must have taken on your entire family.
Things that most people would not even want to have in their nightmares is your goal. You wouldn't imagine a 5-year-old not being able to walk to the toilet. And that was one of the goals that I set him one day in hospital. And people don't, unless you've been through it, it's very hard to understand what you go through as a parent. But it doesn't leave you, but it just drives you on to make something better. I don't think people quite understand how it's not just a case of your child receiving medicine, it's the fact that you've got to look after them away from everything else. Your life literally presses pause. You have no money coming in to pay your mortgage. There is no food in the hospital after 5 o'clock in the evening for parents, and quite rightly they're looking after the children, even that's limited at some points. And also things like in the winter, Hugh had chemotherapy, and for those who have had cancer treatment know that it sort of obliterates your immune system. We had to keep the house warm, we had to clean it, and we were going through COVID. The reason behind the campaign is, there are hidden costs, and it's not just a case of sitting in a hospital room. You need to look after yourself and feed them, and people look after your siblings, and it's a whole sort of traumatic time. We witnessed other parents just making the decision whether to get a taxi home or feed themselves in the hospital at night. I remember one situation, there was a lady sitting in front of me, her 11-year-old was having treatment for leukemia, and she had to leave him in the bed that night and take a bus home with her 2 other children so they could go home and have dinner. And she was weighing up whether she could actually give the child food because it was out of hours for the kitchen. And we've heard since that people are selling their homes, selling clothes. A lot of people set up community GoFundMe pages now just because they have no money to fall back on. And you can't rely on the goodwill of people just to keep you going for a really bad time, although it's the only option available to them at the moment.
Tell us about Hugh's Law then, and what does it propose?
So Hugh's Law mirrors that of the neonatal bill that's coming into effect this April, where if you have a child that's born sick or becomes sick within the first 28 days of their life, parents are entitled to 12 weeks paid leave from their job, and that paid leave gives them workers' rights and protection so they can go back to that job. But if that child is 29 days old, or in Hugh's instance, he was 5 years old and diagnosed with cancer, there's nothing in place. And parents have to, 3 options they have at the moment is they have to wait 90 days before they can even apply for disability living allowance. And then current wait times, once that's applied for, is 20 weeks. And that page is 42 pages long, which you have to hand fill out. Entitlements are 18 weeks unpaid leave. That doesn't help the financial situation. And universal credit. But most parents go into this working. They have money coming, and the universal credit doesn't really help middle-income families. We've costed it out at under £9 million at the top end, but realistically, we've costed it around 6 to 7 million that would be supplying this financial help to these parents, when in the scheme of government spending, it's nothing really.
And just finally, Ceri, I know this is a fight that has been a long fight for you already. Through various different governments, you've spoken to various different politicians about this, and it's actually being debated in the House of Lords tonight as an amendment on another bill. How hopeful are you for change right now?
I mean, it's been 4 years of campaigning, as you say, with different governments. I've tried 3 different routes. At the moment, the government aren't supporting the amendment. They're offering us a consultation on it. But consultation is only good if it's enacted on, and you need legislative framework to act on a consultation. So we're hoping that after Baroness Gray-Thompson's speech tonight, and we have support from across the peers in the House of Lords tonight, that they might change their mind on that. But if that's not the case, then Tanny will take it to a vote and will attempt to try and get the peers on our side to vote this through so it stays on the employments bill. If it doesn't, then we'll have to find another route to go again, but we're certainly not going to go away. And at some point, this financial support will be enacted on and will help parents, because in the scheme of things, we want to help people in society, and this is one of those things that people can do and the government can do definitely to help people. And then, you know, going back to what Prime Minister Keir Starmer said at the start of his tenureship, you know, a working class person is someone who can't write a cheque if it all goes wrong, and it's exactly the person that we're looking to help.
And you're doing it all in Hugh's memory, so
yep.
Thank you for coming in to talk to us tonight.